Hello everyone and welcome back to the breakdown. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a paper server in Minecraft 1.16.5. Paper is the best Minecraft server software out there, and in this video we're going to go over every single step of getting your paper server set up and even allowing your friends to join your paper server. However, this is not meant to be a public server. It's only meant to be for your friends, your family, the people that you can really trust to basically come over to your house because it's using your own IP address. And what that means is anyone who you give the IP of this server to can do things like hit you offline via DDoS attack and even find out where you live down to your latitude and longitude coordinates. On top of that, you're going to need some basic understanding of networking and things like that. We're going to go through everything as in depth as possible. We've helped millions of people start Minecraft servers, but it is still a little more complicated once you get into that part of the tutorial. And then last but not least, you're going to need a decent computer, right? You're actually going to need a computer that can run Minecraft and a server at the same time. So if you have issues running Minecraft, you're going to have issues running a server as well, right? It's not going to work that way. And on top of that, you're going to need a decent amount of RAM, probably for, a few players, at least 2 gigabytes of RAM dedicated to your server. And on top of that, you also are going to want to have a decent CPU within the last 2 or 3 generations to be able to run Minecraft without any lag. And I'm talking i5 or i7 in the last few generations, I should say. To be able to run Minecraft server without any lag on there, CPUs have become more and more important over time with Minecraft server performance. So, nevertheless, what if, though, you do want to run a public server? You want a server that anyone and everyone can join? Or what if your computer just isn't that good enough? Or what if you just don't want to have to worry about security, like, DDoSing and things like that? Well, in that case, you want to go with someone like Apex Minecraft Hosting. You can check out Apex at the first link down below the breakdown.xyz/Apex. We actually love and trust Apex so much that we host our own server, played.breakdowncraft.com, 100% and fully on them. Apex truly is incredible. They have one-click setup with Paper. This tutorial is 20 minutes long. Guess what? Paper setup on Apex will be done in under 2 to 3 minutes. It is absolutely incredible. Again, we love and trust them ourselves. Plus, they take care of all the security, and your server can be made private for just you and your friends if you want, or it can be made public, and you can send that IP to everyone and anybody. If you host on Apex Minecraft Hosting, they take care of the security, and it's up to you who you want on your server, and basically, you don't have to worry about it. It's all up to you. But nevertheless, that is who we recommend if you want a public server, don't want to have to worry about network security, or just don't have a good enough computer to be able to host a Minecraft server. You can check out Apex again. It's the first link down below the breakdown.xyz/Apex to get your paper server up and running in under 5 minutes. But what if you want to host your server yourself on your own computer? Well, in that case, we're going to be going over everything here, so let's go ahead and jump on into it. The first thing you need to do is go to the second link down below, and that's going to take you here. This is the paper download page, the official paper download page. As you can see, paper 1.16.5 is selected there. If it's not out anymore, if paper 1.16.5 is no longer out, simply because 1.17 has come out or something, there is the legacy button down here, and that's so you can get older versions of Paper. However, for right now, it's right up here on the main page. It's the main download. Once you're here, you want to go ahead and click on this cloud download button next to the most recent version. Your version number will be different. Yours may be 7,800 or whatever. It doesn't matter what this number is. Just on this very, very top build here, go ahead and click that download button, that gray download button with the little cloud icon. Then in the bottom left of Google Chrome, you'll have a little pop-up that says paper 1.16.5. Are you sure you want to keep the file? We are sure. We do want to keep the file. It's 100% safe. However, if you're on Mozilla Firefox, it's not going to be in the bottom left of your screen. It's going to pop up in the center of your screen and ask you to save it. And again, it's 100% safe to save. Now we can go ahead and minimize our browser, and hit our desktop. We do have paper 1.16.5. This isn't on your desktop. It's probably going to be found in your downloads folder. So to find that, go ahead and click the little Windows icons in the top left of my screen, probably in the bottom left of your screen though. Click on that little Windows icon on the top or bottom left of your screen. Then go ahead and type in downloads. You have this downloads file folder. Click on that, and in here you will find paper. Go ahead and drag that to your desktop just for ease of use. Once paper is on your desktop, we can go ahead and right click on your desktop. We're going to create a new folder. You can name this whatever you want. It really doesn't matter. You can name it paper server, but what I'm actually going to name it is play.breakdowncraft.com. Why am I naming it that? Because that is our own incredible Minecraft server. I mentioned it briefly earlier, but there you'll find incredible skyblock, amazing survival. Truly come and check it out. Over 200 players online every single day. So come play with us. Play.breakdowncraft.com is the IP. Once you've got this created here, this folder, go ahead and take the paper file you downloaded and drag and drop it into this folder you created. Then open the folder that you created, right like so. I'm going to move it to where we can see the folder and, this open folder here. So nevertheless, once you've got this open here, you want to go ahead and right click in this basically folder that you created. So go ahead and right click, create a new text document. So again, that was right click, new text document. Then you'll have this new text document up here. Go ahead and double click on that. and then go to the description down below, right? So whenever you double click on it, open like this, and then in the description down below, you'll find this, and this is all the codes in the description basically. What are these codes? What's the amount of RAM you want dedicated to your server? So do you want 1 GB, 2 GB, 3 GB, or 4 GB? For most people, 2 GB is probably going to be where you're going to start. It's going to allow you to have a few plugins and a few players, and that'll be about that. However, you might want to go up to 4 GB if you're going to have more than like say 5 to 10 players and a decent amount of plugins. For me though, because honestly I don't have that great of a computer right now, upgrades are coming very, very soon, but while I'm recording this, I don't. I'm going to go ahead and go with 1 GB because it's going to be the less resource intensive, especially for me who's going to be running Minecraft, recording, and running a server all at the same time. But for you, again, you might want to go with 2 GB to get started. Let's go ahead and paste in the new text document this code. Again, make sure it starts at Java and ends in pause. You don't need to copy where it says 1 GB, right? You just copy from where it says Java to where it says pause, right like so. Then you want to go ahead and do File, Save As on this new text document. And then you want to save it as run.bat. So make the file name run.bat and make save type as all files. Now, it's both very important. So you want to make sure the file name is run.bat and save type as is all files. Then go ahead and click save in the bottom right. And now if we go ahead and close out of this and close out of this, we will have here the run.bat file that we created. Now, the last thing we need to do is go ahead and rename our paper file here. Now, mine is paper 1.16.5, whatever, .jar at the end. If yours doesn't have .jar at the end, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Just right-click on it, click rename, and type paper. Now, mine is going to keep that .jar. If you didn't have that .jar in the first place, don't worry about it. Just make it named paper and then hit enter. Now, we can go ahead and double-click on our run.bat file, and then it's going to open up this right here. As you can see, it's downloading the .jar. It's doing things. That's a sign it's working, right? So it's going to go ahead, and I'm going to let this stop, and then I'll tell you what to do if this doesn't work correctly. So as you can see, it's loading, it's doing things, and eventually it is going to fail. As you can see, failed to load EULA.txt. You need to agree to it. Press any key to continue. So let's go ahead and press any key to continue, and that's going to close out of that, but we do have this new EULA.txt file. However, what if you click on run.bat, and it just doesn't work? Well, the first thing you want to do is make sure that this file name right here is paper.jar. If it's not paper.jar, there can be issues. And again, yours may just say paper, but that's okay. It should be paper or paper.jar and be an executable jar file here. If that's the case and that's correct, make sure your run.bat file is correct and make sure it looks exactly like mine does right here, right? Starts with Java, ends with pause, that whole thing. If it does, then you're good to go there. Last but not least, it could be that you're trying to add too much RAM to your server. So what I would recommend doing is going back into that run.bat file and actually changing these numbers from 1024 here to 500 and 1024 here to 500. If it works with that much RAM, but it didn't work with 1 GB of RAM, right? The reason for that is because you don't have 64-bit Java. Well, what do you do in that case? Well, in that case, what you want to do is go ahead to the description down below. So if you go to the description down below, we have this tutorial. This is how to download and install Java for Minecraft mods and servers. Paper is a Minecraft server, so we need this version of Java for it. It goes through every single step, and it's the correct version of Java to work with Paper and Minecraft. Now, that should fix it, and you should then be able to open the file, but just in case you can't, you want to go ahead and run the jar fix as well, and that's going to link all the jar files on your computer to Java once again, and it's going to make things like this, little Java logo there appear. But nevertheless, finally, you should be able to double-click on run.bat and get your EULA.txt file. Once you do have the EULA.txt, go ahead and double-click on that, and it's going to open up this. You want to go to this link, and as long as you agree to the Minecraft EULA for this server, go ahead and change EULA equals false to EULA equals true, TRUE, exactly like that. Then go ahead and do File, Save. EULA.txt is going to save there, and we can go ahead and close out of the EULA.txt file. Now, if we double-click on our run.bat file, it's going to actually start the server at this point, right? We've agreed to the EULA.txt. The server is going to start right up. Now, only you can join your server at this point, but this is a good time to test your server. Whoa, a lot of files just generated. But this is a good time to go ahead and test your server and make sure everything is on the up and up and working. Now, as you can see, there's some warnings here. Don't worry about that. It's not a big deal. It's actually just saying Java 11 is, going to be supported when Minecraft 1.17 comes out, and the current version of Java that I have on my computer isn't going to be supported. Luckily, this article right here is up to date with that, and you're good to go. So nevertheless, let's go ahead and get this set up so we can join it. And actually, all you need to do is just get the IP address. So how do we do that? Let's go ahead and open up the little Windows icon against in the top left of my screen, probably in the bottom left of your screen, but could be in the top left. Just click on that little Windows icon, then type in CMD, this is going to open up this command prompt app here. Click on that, and then in command prompt here, what we want to do is type ipconfig, ipconfig exactly like that, and hit enter. Then we're going to have a few things. So the first thing we want to get here is our IPv4 address. So let's go ahead and open up Notepad, and we're going to mark these down. You can also write them down on a sticky note, whatever you feel more comfortable with, but we're going to put them in Notepad here. Now, we want our IPv4 address first. So right there that is. So that's going to be our IPv4, and that's going to be 192.168.1.123 in our case. Yours is most likely different from that, but that's okay. Then we also want our default gateway. Now, some people will have a big long string of numbers and letters for their default gateway, and then under that, they'll have just numbers, right? We want the one that's just numbers. So if you have one that's like this, like FE80, this big long string up here, and then you have a smaller one under it, you want the smaller one. So in my case, my default gateway is 192.168.1.1. Yours is probably completely different, but again, just get the one that's numbers if you have one that's both numbers and letters and just numbers. We can close out of command prompt there. Again, we do still have our CMD open over here, though, for our server. And now we can go ahead and open up Minecraft 1.16. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Minecraft launcher. Open up Minecraft 1.16 here. There it is, 1.16.5. Click play, and I will see you on the Minecraft main menu. Here we are on the Minecraft main menu. Now from here, we want to go ahead and click on multiplayer. Obviously, we're making a multiplayer server. And hey, look, PaperMC.com, best server in the multiverse. Go check it out. But nevertheless, once you're on the multiplayer menu, go ahead and click direct connection. And then we can go ahead and copy our IPv4 address from the left-hand side over here and paste it where it says server address. Then go ahead and click join server. Now, you should join right on in. As you can see here, we are joining right on in to our server. There's a few ways you can check that. One, we're online here on a Minecraft server. And two, right here it says join Nick's Games. That means that, my account joined this server, and your username should be over here as well if you joined your server. Now, at this point, you're the only person that can join this server. If you give that IP you just used to your friend, it's not going to work at all. For that, they're going to need your public IP address, and you're going to need to port forward. We're going to go over all of that later in the video. However, you should always join your server using your local IP address. It's just easier that way, and it's going to make things a lot easier because sometimes your ISP won't even let you connect to your public IP. So if you, for whatever reason, can't connect through your public IP, that's okay as long as your friends can. However, if for whatever reason you can't join your server right now when it's locally hosted like this, most likely you have an issue with Windows Defender. Luckily, we do have a link in the description down below to our Windows Defender tutorial. Go ahead and open it up here. It's this tutorial right here, how to allow Java through your firewall. Sometimes this can also cause issues later on, so if you port forward and your friends still can't join, go through this tutorial right here, and a lot of times that will fix it. But nevertheless, sometimes you can't even join your Minecraft server via your local IP because of Windows Defender. But nevertheless, as you can see, we are now online. We are all now good. Wow, that's actually a really good seed. We'll grab that towards the end of the video. But nevertheless, there you have it. You can join your server. But what if you want your friends to be able to join your paper server as well? Let's go ahead and go over that. I'm actually going to go ahead and close out of Minecraft because, again, like I mentioned, my computer's not that great anymore, so we're going to have to, keep this stuff shut down. We also have to stop our server. We have to turn our server offline. To do that, just go ahead and in this little, text box here, or not text box, but at the very, very bottom of the command prompt, you'll see this, little clicking, flashing line. That's saying that you can type. So go ahead and type stop, S-T-O-P, right like that. Hit enter. That's going to shut your server down properly. If you don't do that every time, it might not save chunks correctly. It can cause some issues. So always stop your server like that and then press any key to continue. Now we want to go ahead and find our server.properties file here in our main server folder here. So once we do that, we can scroll down, find server.properties, and double click on it. For me, it automatically opens in Notepad. For you, you may have to select Notepad to open it. But nevertheless, once you're here, you want to scroll down until you find server-IP equals. And next to this, you want to go ahead and take your IPv4 address, copy it, and then paste it next to server-IP equals right like so. Again, no spaces or anything, just equals, and then that string of numbers, and then go ahead and do file, save, and there we go. We're done with that part. Now we want to go ahead and open up our browser, right like so, and then we want to go ahead and click on a new tab. So there's going to be a brand new tab where you would type in youtube.com, the breakdown.xyz, breakdowncraft.com, anything like that, and then right up here at the top where you would normally type that in, you would go ahead and this time copy your default gateway and paste it right up here at the top, right like so. So, boom, there you go. You've pasted your default gateway in, and it should load something that looks similar, but not exactly like this. The one similarity will be a login box. There'll probably be some sort of login box. Now, if for whatever reason you type in your default gateway and it doesn't work, it doesn't load something like this, the most likely reason for that, unfortunately, is that your ISP is locked to your port forwarding. They're not going to allow you to access your backend router. Or if you're on a public Wi-Fi network, that can be anything from a mobile hotspot, like, something you would use with your phone to connect to the internet via your computer, or a dorm room or something like that, or a company Wi-Fi, something of that nature. That can sometimes lock you out of being able to access the back end of the router, and because of that, you can't host a Minecraft server on those networks. So I apologize for that, but that's just kind of the hard truth of it. There's nothing we can do about that. I've looked into it, and really there's unfortunately nothing we can do. So in that case, it might be better to go with an Apex route. You're not going to have that issue on Apex. You'll be able to host your server without problem. But nevertheless, let's go ahead and log on into our router. Now for me, I'm going to go ahead and bam and enter in our password right like so. However, for you, you need to find your router password. How do you do that? Well, we have an in-depth article linked in the description down below that gives you 5 different methods to finding your router password. Most people, though, find it by method 3. First, talking to the person who set up your internet. Checking your router for a sticker. A lot of times the login information is on a sticker on your router. Third, trying the default username and password. So that's just trying the stuff that was set up by default from the factory. Most people don't change this. So that's why that will a lot of times work. And if that doesn't work, you can finally reset your router and try the default info. And then last but not least, contact your ISP, because some ISPs do give you that information. But nevertheless, let's go ahead, and once we've done that, log on into our router. And again, this is most likely going to look completely different for you. I mean, completely different for you than it does for me, but that's okay. It's supposed to be that way in many ways, right? You have a different router from what I do. The good news about all of this is that we actually have, of course, an in-depth tutorial linked in the description down below. So right here, how to port forward your router. This is a complete guide linked in the description down below that goes over some of the top routers today. Everything from Linksys and Netgear to TP-Link to AT&T to Verizon routers. It's all covered in this video. The downside of that is your router may not be covered. And if it's not, that's okay. Because usually all of these routers, for example, ASUS routers, have very similar backends to Linksys and Netgear and all this stuff. So watch this video in full, and then when you do get into your router, you're going to be like, oh, this reminds me more of a Cisco router mixed with a Netgear router. And you'll be able to kind of combine that knowledge, look for the right things, find the right menus, and go from there. However, for me, it's going to be in security. For you, it may be in advanced. It may be in advanced. And by the way, what we're looking for here is port forwarding, right? So sorry, I didn't mention that. We're looking for port forwarding. For me, port forwarding is located in security here. And then for you, it may be in advanced or advanced. It may be in apps and gaming. It may be in port forwarding / port triggering. It may be in NAT forwarding, NAT forwarding, or NAT gaming, NAT gaming. It could be in port forwarding / port triggering. May have already said that one. It could be in an administration tab. It could be in your security or, the firewall safety, network safety sort of a tab or something like that. But again, for me, it is in security. Then it is in apps and gaming. And then finally, it's in single port forwarding. So I had to go through a few things there, right? I had to go through security. Then it was in apps and gaming. And then it was in single port forwarding. Now for me, I have to click add a new single port forward. You may just have a big list right like this. And if that's the case, just enter in the first one and then, make sure you save it and everything once you're done. However, for me, the application name or ID could be ID for you. That's just going to be Minecraft. That's just telling us what the port forward's for. For external port, internal port, anything at all to do with the word port, we're going to enter in 25565. So internal port 25565, external port 25565. For protocol, that's going to be TCP/UDP, UDP/TCP, or both. Either way, make sure both are selected. And if for whatever reason you can't select both, just do this port forward twice, the exact same, except putting TCP on one and UDP on the other. However, we do have the option to select both, so that's what we're going to do. For device IP, that's going to be whatever your IPv4 address is that we found earlier. So in my case, 192.168.1.123. Now, you may not have a device IP. It might just say device and give you a drop down of all of the different devices connected to your network. If that's the case, select the computer that you're starting your Minecraft server on. Could be a laptop, whatever, but select that device that you're starting the Minecraft server on, and then you'll be good to go. Finally, we can go ahead and make sure that's enabled and click save. Click apply, all of that stuff. Now, some people, though, do need their public or external IP to be able to do a port forward. That's not a lot of people, but some people do need that. Luckily, every single person watching this video right now needs their public IP address, because your public IP is how your friends are going to join your server. To get that, we have a link in the description down below. What's my IP? It's in the description. And when you click on it, it's going to take you here. Now, again, this is why it's so important to only give this out to the people you can trust, because you can get your region, your city, your latitude and longitude coordinates from your IP address, right? So that's why it is so important to only give this out to people you trust. Now, for me, you can only see the 100 at the end, and your, you can probably see the country, but you can't see the region, the city, or the latitude and longitude, because again, you don't want to give that out to everybody and anybody. And if you get the IP, you can look this information up very easily. So you can see 100 there, just so you know we're using the same one later on, but everything else is blacked out. Now, if we do need this for our port forward, we can click here, go ahead and enter it in, save, apply, all of that stuff. Click OK, and then finally, we can minimize our browser. We want to go ahead and start our server with the run.bat file. It's going to go ahead and start our server right on up, right like so. And then we want to go ahead and actually open up Minecraft as well. Now, this is going to lag my computer a decent amount, so I'm going to go ahead and, of course, do a little jump cut till the server is started and Minecraft is loaded up. All right, so here we are. Minecraft is open. Our server is open. And now if we go ahead and click on multiplayer, direct connection, I'm going to paste in our public IP address. Now, you can try to join via your public IP, but the real test is if your friends can join via your public IP, because honestly, that's all that matters. Most ISPs, or not most, but some ISPs don't allow you to connect back to yourself via your public IP. Mine does, so if I go ahead, type this in here, as you can see, the 100 is the same as the one earlier, the rest of it's blacked out. We can click join server, and it will put us right on in, on the left-hand side, Next Games has joined, into our server. We are good to go, we are in game. However, if it doesn't do that for you, that's okay, as long as your friends can join via your public IP, because you can join via your local IP address, which we did about halfway through the tutorial. At this point, though, your server is up and running. If for whatever reason your friends can't join, it's going to be Windows Defender, like what we talked about earlier, or it could be an antivirus on your computer that is also blocking that connection. Last but not least, it could also be a firewall on your router blocking the connection, and you might need to port forward or allow your port forward through that firewall on your router. That's going to be different for everyone though, and most likely just click around your router. It'll be pretty easy to find the firewall settings, probably somewhere in security or administration, and then you can allow your port forward through that firewall on your router if you need to. However, most of the time it's Windows Defender, so start there with our tutorial in the description down below. But there you have it. You now know how to create a paper server from scratch on your computer. Going through everything from setting up the correct files to getting everything to where your friends can join. It has all been covered here. However, you probably want to add plugins to your paper server. It's one of the biggest benefits, other than performance, that a paper server can offer you. So how do you do that? Well, we have a link in the description down below on how to set up plugins on your paper server. It goes through this exact server that we just set up. I'm recording it right after this, and it goes through every single step of getting plugins on the server, and even how to find some of the configuration files and things like that. So nonetheless, check that out in the description down below. If you did enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up. Come play with us on the best Minecraft server in the multiverse, play.breakdowncraft.com. My name is Nick. This has been The Breakdown, and I'm out. Peace.